setting up the feed here. I'm sending the link out on Twitter before we get going here. Okay, so that should be sent. Sign into the chat here. Okay, I see some people coming in the chat here, so that's good. I'll let a few people come in here and then we'll start chatting, do some Q&A and see what's coming up here and see what's changed today. Active weather systems here on the West Coast, as you can see. Pretty darn chilly here in the Pacific Northwest. The sunbreak's been nice the last few days, but I'm ready for some spring weather. It's getting to the point where I'd almost rather have some nice warm days versus snow down in the lower elevations, but once the snow started falling, I'd probably change my tune pretty quick. All right, I see a few people entering the chat here. Yep, thanks for watching, you guys. I see the chatters coming in here. So, yeah, we're going to do the weather station giveaway today also. And right now it's open to members only. There's like there's over 200 members right now, so I'm just going to do a random generator drawing here, and I'm going to do it in a way where it makes it a little bit more fun. I'll probably pull the numbers out, and the first person who gets their number called twice will be the winner. So the first time your number gets called, you won't win, and you're already been put into the Excel file here, and I'll show you guys that when we get to it here in a little bit. Yeah, there was a few lightning strikes down by between Tacoma and Olympia down towards Yelm today. There was some small hail down there. I chased a couple showers down there as well. Yeah, a lot of precipitation incoming for California. You can see on the infrared satellite here. The good thing about this is this upper level trough is kind of chilly here. So the snow levels aren't going to get just too crazy. But there's a lot of snow below 4,000 or 5,000 feet, and it's going to get melted here. The higher elevations are going to do better. The snowpack's not going to get eroded near as much as what's below 5,000, 4,500 feet or so across the area there. But when you get below 4,500 feet, you're going to get a lot of snow melt. A lot of precipit's going to be falling here, and we're going to get multiple storms. So I'm kind of worried that we're going to be kind of kicking the can down the road here a little bit. We're going to go through these storms, and we're just going to kind of be living on the edge here. We've got this huge snowpack over this Sierra Nevada down there, and it's kind of like the kinetic energy you were taught in middle school or high school, and it's just kind of teetering there on the cliff. And if that, we get a huge atmospheric river in here, or a combination of them, the fairly warm ones, then you can really start to do some extreme flooding, and we don't want to go there. Janine Parker, I'll have to add you to the list here. So anybody who signs up for the channel here, I'll add you to the list. So I'll put you in at number 220. Whoops. Geanen. So your random number will be 220. So basically you've got a 1 in 220 chance right now, if you are a member of this channel, to win the Weather Flow weather station. Pacific Northwest Weather Lover is here. Good. One of my moderators is here. That's very nice. If you are a member of the channel, you are in. Yeah, you might see some flakes somewhere in the west portions of, west of the Cascades, but it shouldn't amount to much. The snow level should be generally, over 500 feet, maybe, 700, 800 feet for a lot of that event coming in. But east of the Cascades, there's going to be some nice snowfalls. Even for the east slopes, could get a little bit of snow out of this as well. We'll go over that here in a moment also. Let's see, trying to catch up on the chats there. And there's the tempest here. I'm running this at my house now, and I'm probably going to leave this at my house. This is a really nice station, actually, especially for the price. The hazards are starting to the hazards starting to come in for Oregon too for this storm. They're getting winter storm warnings up, winter storm watches, or some winter weather advisories popping up across the area too. Wind advisories. It's going to get gusty through the gaps too, near Enumclaw, Stampede Gap as well. This low pressure is going to set up off the coastline where it's going to pull some east winds through the Cascade Gaps. Santa Cruz Mountains. Yeah, you guys are in for some heavy rain down there. Hopefully everybody's out there clearing those storm drains and everything down through California. A good setup for thunderstorm west of the Cascades is kind of like what we got yesterday, where you get that upper level low kind of off the coastline and you get that southeast flow that comes off the higher terrain. And we got enough destabilization yesterday too. It was pretty warm in the morning, if you remember, on into the early afternoon. So that helped spark some of those thunderstorms. It tried to do that a little bit today, and there was a couple lightning strikes, but it wasn't quite as unstable today. No, the member is different as a subscriber. There's a join button down below. You can actually see it next to the Pacific Northwest Weather channel down there. And if you click join, then you'll be automatically entered into the drawing that we'll do here in probably a half an hour or so. I'll probably do it at 7:30 and we'll draw that somewhere around there. We'll see how the chat goes. I mean, this upper level trough, man, and we just keep getting systems up here through the Pacific Northwest, and California's been getting in the action as well. I mean, you know, Oregon's going to get hit pretty hard with this storm coming up here as well. Let's see here. This is the European as of 18Z. Free World Order. I'll add you to the list here. So anybody who gets added now, or anybody who signs up now, I'll just add you. But anyway, we've got this trough here that's kind of open over the northwest, and then we're getting this warm, moist air interacting with it, and it deepens that low here off the coastline there. You notice that kind of spins off the coast there. It's going to fire up a little bit of east winds through the Cascades. So we got to watch out for that. I think there might be some wind advisories on the foothills of the Cascades here, but you can see a pretty good storm moving across the area. And then as we go on in through Sunday, you can see another storm approaching from the southwest there as well. Yep, if you remember, you were in there. Let's see. It's not strengthening. It's on track. The Pineapple Express is on track. The atmospheric river. Let's see. Do I have there we go. This was the 18Z European here. So what's going on here is you've got this cold upper level low here. So the temperatures are not going to get that warm above, 5, 6, 7,000 feet. There will be a freezing for some of the area, but you're not going to get a lot of snow melt out there, but it is going to weigh down the snow. And it's going to add that water content to the snow out there across areas above 6,000 feet where it is raining. So it's not going to be huge flooding, but the issue is it can still run off the snowfall, and it can run directly into people's houses, or it can just weigh down the snow even more and just kind of add to that weight and collapse roofs. But the big issue is that there's a lot of snowfall below 5,000 feet that's going to get melted here, and there's a lot of precipitation incoming here with this atmospheric river. And you can see it stretching all the way down from the tropics here towards California. And then on top of that, you've got kind of a continuation of precipitation that goes on in through early week. And then another system, you can clearly see this next atmospheric river kind of pointing at the state also. And who knows what's after that? It looks like we're going to remain active here. So it's going to be kind of it's a precarious situation here. It's, like I said, the beginning of this show here, that we got a lot of kinetic energy up in the Sierra Nevada here, a lot of snowpack. It's getting up towards record level. And, if we melt it too quick, it can be catastrophic across the area. And some people are already going to get hit hard as it is as we go. But right now, it doesn't look like, the huge extreme mega flood that everybody's fearing, but it is going to be pretty impactful for some areas. I don't think around the Pacific Northwest, our thunderstorm chances for the most part up here are done, at least for this round of that low pressure system that affected us yesterday and today. How accurate is the weather forecast if it's 10 days out? When you're looking at weather that far out, you really have to take things with a grain of salt. The models don't do too bad with picking up mean ridge and trough position, for example. But the problem is if that ridge is just a little bit off or the trough is a little bit off from what it says, it can mean the difference between getting a nice, fairly warm day and a strong frontal system moving through your area. So at 10 days, you really got to take it with a grain of salt. The skill goes way down after about 3 to 4 days and progressively worse after those 4 days. Let's see what's going on here around the Pacific Northwest. Here's some chatter going on here. You can see kind of that southwest flow we had across the region here again today. And there was a couple lightning strikes down here earlier, but that cell dissipated quite rapidly. But that's 37 degrees out there. It's kind of chilly outside. Let me try to answer some of these questions here. Yeah, some places have been pretty warm across the country. I mean, we've been locked in just an epic winter here across the West Coast. It's been ice and chilly. California is going to be talking about their winter here for the next few decades, really. This is just an extreme winter. It's pretty intense. And this is precipitation. This is the European, here. But this is just a 24-hour running total here. So this is kind of some of the danger of what's going on there. You can see the precipitation doesn't really let up. And then the next system is just hot on the heels there and continues that. And then you can see the next one out here just winding up like it's about to throw a punch at the state of California here as well as we go on in through midweek. Thank you for the generosity. Pow, pow. Pacific Northwest. I mean, you can't say we're done with it yet, but the odds are going down really quickly of any kind of significant impactful snowstorm here west of the Cascades. You kind of pause just in saying that just because it doesn't take much to make a disruptive snowfall here. An inch can do it. So you can still get that. I've seen it snow well on into April before. So you never say never, but the odds are going down day by day quite rapidly. Margaret Copeland, I'll add you to the list here before we do the drawing. Yeah, La Nina on its way out, folks. It's finally happening. Did you guys enjoy that 3-season run we had there? Pretty intense. You can almost see the storm system back here with the subtropical moisture handed off to this trough and kind of intensify the storm right on the coastline there. This is going to bring some nice snowfall to some of the elevations that don't normally get snow across some of eastern Washington. This should be a pretty impactful storm here. And you can kind of see as these systems just continue to move towards the coastline here. And you can see the next one just out here rearing its ugly head pointed at California as well, as troughing remains over the Pacific Northwest also. We got some wet snow earlier this morning. Salinas, California flooding we saw recently was nothing I've ever seen. How likely is... I mean, some areas are going to get flooding pretty bad, but it's not the huge state mega flood that, you hear sometimes in some of the worst case scenarios in some of the news. But some areas are going to get hit pretty hard. And there's, what's going to happen is there's going to be snow blocking storm drains and things like that. And there's people that are going to get their roofs weighed down even by all this precipitation. And we're going to get roof collapses and you're going to get mudslides and a lot of snow is going to melt below 4,500 feet. And there's going to be that local urban and that small stream flooding across a lot of the area. And it's going to get kind of wild. Yeah, Oregon, you guys have some weather coming in here. I mean, you can see the winter storm warnings all the way through the Oregon Cascades there. In fact, let's do this. Southern California. We'll look at Southern California here soon as well. Yeah, look at that. Southern Cascades there in Oregon. 12 to 24 inches, up to 3 feet over the higher terrain. Winds gusting 60 miles per hour. World-class storm coming in for the Southern Oregon Cascades. Crater Lake included in there. Starting tomorrow morning on in through Friday. Possible travel possible. Tree damage. Yeah, so this is a pretty intense storm rolling in here. And you can see if I click on, let's go to up towards Bend here. Heavy snow above 4,000 feet, winds 50 miles per hour. Pretty impressive storm. And the National Weather Service, Oregon and Medford seem to be all over it here. 10 to 20 inches above 3,000 feet, winds gusting 45. Yeah, it's no joke. You guys might want to put off travel here in some of the Cascades. And it's probably just a matter of time here before the National Weather Service Seattle starts putting out advisories for the Cascades also here coming up. Okay, let me try to catch up on the chat here. Thank you for the generosity, Renee. Keep in mind we're on one beautiful family on a non-rotating flat earth in the center of the whole universe. I don't know if that's satire or what, but you don't have to be CGI globe worshipper. Yeah, I don't know too much about it. That's a good idea. A good question though, Surf Run, about storm impacts on super bloom and wildflowers for deserts and foothills. I'm sure it does not hurt. I mean, obviously, if you get early spring snow and rain and whatnot, it sets the stage for probably some nice wildflowers and, you know, some increased vegetation. I'm sure it doesn't hurt. There's some winter weather advisories off into eastern Washington. I want to click on this real quick here too. Yeah, look at that. Ritzville up to 3 inches. Spokane Valley, downtown Spokane, 10 p.m. this evening at 10 a.m. Thursday. It's like one of my brand new fans on my computer started making a little noise here. I've not heard that noise before yet. Let me see if I can fix that. Whoops. Did that do it? Yeah, it's going to get crazy. This is, yeah, it's going to be a wild ride here for the next couple of weeks for California. This is just, it's going to be pretty catastrophic for some people, although it's not the giant flood. I want to kind of emphasize that. How does this weather affect the groundwater? Well, I mean, the snow melt and runoff, whatnot, does not hurt groundwater supply in there. I mean, it helps seep it in there, but groundwater can take years to replenish, even decades sometimes. You know, those aquifers were built over many thousands of years underground there. So Washington State, that's, yeah, let's look at that really quick here. So this is 80-meter wind speed, and you'll clearly see the low here develop off the coastline. See it out here? See the strong southeast winds off the coast? And you can see it pinwheel towards the state here. So if we back up right about there, looks like it's going to be strongest. Looks like tomorrow night across some of Stampede Gap out toward North Bend, Enumclaw out there. Some of the gaps up north toward Gold Bar, even get some gusty east winds going on here. Pretty good easterly component coming through. Maybe some gusty winds down through the gorge as well. Not a huge classic offshore wind event here, but that looks like it could be pretty darn gusty. And you can see some of these gusts getting up into what, you know, you get some 50 plus mile per hour east winds out of this, even reaching all the way out towards SeaTac. So Kenny's Till could get some, Covington, for example. Oroville Dam is less than 20% repaired. I cannot confirm that. Yeah, I saw those pictures from Big Bear, California down there. It was pretty wild. It looked like the Cascades in Washington. Okay, how many people do we have in here now? 349, not bad. What's the current snow coverage into these storms? I mean, they will. It's just, sometimes it's hard to tell on these maps. You know, I've tried to get a better map that shows this. Does it have? So if we go to California and we go to like Central California, for example, you can see it says positive snow depth change. So it doesn't really show what's being taken away by melting on that one. John Didier, thank you very much and for your generosity, sir. So if we go to the European here, we can see snow depth. So let's see what this looks like. Does it show up too much? You can kind of see it being eaten away here for lower elevations. But it doesn't really, I don't think it's capturing the impact of this too much. You can see it being eroded away, but it doesn't really show the melting as much as I think that it's going to happen for some of the lower elevations. The higher elevations are going to be better, but the snow water equivalent is going to increase in the snowpack here. So that's going to increase the weight of the snow on top of buildings. And if you guys know, you guys been listening to the news out there, you've seen some of the, you saw that grocery store collapse and some homes are having issues with roof collapsing out there as well. So some of the higher elevations are actually going to get some really dense, wet snowfall during this event too. Very little wind in the basin. Garrett's doing his forecasting out there tonight across Oregon. So David Lambert, I got to add you to this before I forget. I got a new chair here and it's kind of squeaky, sorry. Oh, we were going to talk about here. Let's look at this really quick here. Let's go to Southern California. Let's just look at the GFS, the recent one here. I want to see if it has anything coming up here precipitation wise for Southern California to be worried about. Actually, let's just do California because that's kind of zoomed in a little bit too much. 18's a European GFS. I've not looked at this yet, but there goes that atmospheric river. Boom, slams into the terrain there. I mean, it's up towards Santa Barbara a bit there, so let's go out a little bit further. It does show a little bit getting down into some of the higher terrain there, but you can clearly see the next 10 days, it's really targeted just outside of the LA metro, some of the higher terrain there. But look at some of the amounts across the Sierra Nevada, just intense. It's just wild. I mean, I hope we're not setting the stage for something really nasty coming up towards the end of March. It just kind of gives you goosebumps looking at all this precipitation and the active weather pattern here. Because once you start getting later into the season, of course, freezing levels start to rise. And if you line things up right, you can get some pretty catastrophic flooding. I mean, look at that. You're calling for over 20 inches of water equivalent precipitation there. Thank you for the generosity, Renee. Make your grandma a cake. Sounds like a good idea. I haven't looked at individual river levels yet. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow in tomorrow's briefing out there, or I'll go over what the National Weather Service is looking at. I know some rivers, I've seen some chatter about some of them getting up towards flood stage here coming up. And just keep in mind that this is not a one and done thing. This is going to be a round by round. We're going to have to watch this. You know how this forecast can change, and just little shifts in these atmospheric rivers can make them warmer and more damaging. So we have to watch these storms coming in through the next couple of weeks here. I was looking at some soundings as well. Like, it looks like this is about, what, 6,000 to 7,000 feet there, and it's calling for snow at this time. So we're going to not do too bad at some of the higher terrain during some of this storm here, but it is going to be dense, heavy snowfall. So it's not going to be great for the roofs out there and roof collapse, and it's just going to add on to the problems potentially down line. And again, if you're just joining the channel or the page here, the live stream in the last bit, below about 4,500 feet, there's going to be significant melting of the snowpack here with these atmospheric rivers coming on here. And we're going to remain above freezing for a lot of the areas below 4,000 or 5,000 feet here for the next couple of weeks. So you're really going to be laying down a lot of precip on a very saturated ground with a lot of snow melt, and issues up higher in the elevation are going to be, snow loading, collapsed roofs, general localized flooding with rainfall running off on top of snow into homes, blocked storm drains, things like that. So those are things you can do to try to prepare. Also make sure those storm drains are clear. I'm going to take a drink of water, and I don't want to give you guys the sound. I'll be right back. Okay, so 7:21. I'll give it another 10 minutes, and we will do that weather station giveaway here to one of the lucky members. Right now we have 223 people on the list here, and I'm just going to do a random number generator. I've got it set up here, and we're going to run it through, and the first person, you've all got a number signed between 1 and 223. The first person who gets their number called twice wins the weather station. Yes, there is a thunderstorm threat coming up for portions here. You can see day one right now, just kind of Oregon coast. The last 2 days, they've kind of missed it across Western Washington as well. We did have some lightning strikes. I even heard we had some lightning, I think, up towards Southwest BC also. Here's day two. So this would be for tomorrow. Little tiny bit up there for some of the north, higher terrain there in California. This is day three, though. This is Friday morning through Saturday morning. You can see a lot of California is included in this thunderstorm potential here as this storm is rolling into the area by this time. And I actually saw one of the forecast discussions talking about the potential. There's going to be some nice shear with some of those thunderstorms too. So there's even a little bit of a wind threat with some of those thunderstorms as well. It could have a little bit of severe potential with them also. Maybe some small hail as well. And of course that heavy precipitation and dangerous lightning also. Yeah, the rain is not here yet, you guys. The rain is still on its way here. Let me put you up to date here. Let's look at this. I don't want to give anybody the wrong impression. It shouldn't be raining at your place in it's not the atmospheric river yet in California. It's not here yet. This is looking at, actually, sorry, let's back this up. Sorry, guys. Here we go. We're going to go to a little bit wider view there. Okay, so this is the 18Z European. Now, this is the moisture we're worried about out here coming from the tropics, the subtropics here. You can see it reaching across, and it really starts to reach the coastline by the time you get to tomorrow morning, just the very start of it there. And then you can see its impacts go all the way through Thursday night. Now we're in Friday morning, Friday late morning. You can see just continuing to pour into the state of California. Not much of a break all the way through Sunday morning. And then you can see additional systems developing out here. They're going to continue the southwest flow into the state here. So we've got multiple threats here coming up in the next 2 weeks. Yeah, and you can see, so there's Saturday morning there. A little bit of a break across Pacific Northwest here. But that next storm is arriving quickly here as you go through the day Sunday. It should be rolling in by Sunday night. So Pacific Northwest is going to get a break on Saturday a bit. The Friday system, though, is going to be quite potent, as you can see there. You can kind of visualize this here, the troughing, and then check it out. Kind of gets a boost here and develops this system here. And, I mean, it kind of a nice storm here across Pacific Northwest as the atmospheric river is rolling into the state of California here. Pretty dynamic weather maker there. Kevin Freitas, let me put you on the list here. Hope I pronounced that right. Yeah, let's not do that inland lake across California again. Can you imagine if that happened in this day and age with this many people around? That would be wild. Yeah, your drought's going to be getting better, though, there across much of California, though, for sure. I've seen it in that drought monitor. They were talking about drought it might remain a bit, but it's going to be improving. If you're not, no, if you're Derek Warden, you're not on this. You have to click the join button if you want to be entered in the drawing. Sorry, but you can click it right down there. You still have about 5 minutes. Yeah, John Griffin. I mean, there's concern. It's going to be really bad and it might be catastrophic for some people. I don't think it's not yet the huge flooding that's going to just really hammer the entire state. It's not the big one, but it's going to be really bad for some areas. I mean, like you said, there is huge amounts of snow below 5,000 feet that's really going to be melted, and a lot of precipitation brought on top of that. So there's going to be some concerns down low. But the worst case scenario would be a really powerful atmospheric river now that was really warming up the freezing levels to 10, 11,000 feet. That would be catastrophic for much wider of an area right now. Some of that snowpack is going to have the ability to absorb some of this moisture. It's going to increase the snow water equivalency of the actual snowpack up there. So it'll, it's going to put more weight on top of the houses and the businesses and whatnot up there. But at least it's not going to come down in catastrophic flooding. That being said, there's a lot of snow at the lower elevations that's going to get melted. And there's going to be some significant flooding on those elevations. Okay, I'm going to add Humboldt there. Did it not like that? I don't think it liked that. I froze my Excel. Okay, we'll just do that later here. Chris Croy, what is your elevation, Chris? You say you have a foot of snow. What's your elevation? I really locked up Excel there. I'm not sure what I did to it. In the lower elevations, yes, that snowpack's going to get eaten away pretty quick. The higher elevations, though, we're dealing with this upper level trough here, and there still is some cold air interacting with this atmospheric river that's coming in. So it's not going to get up 10,000 plus feet. It's going to be somewhere between 6,000 and 8,000 or so. 1,400 feet, a foot at 1,400 feet. Yeah. And there's going to be more. Yeah, that foot's probably going away here coming up. And reflect the sun is gifted 5. I'm not sure how I do that. Okay, so I'm going to have to do this. We're just going to pull it again. I'm going to have to pull the list again here. Or actually, no, I can just stop it here and I can grab these. There we go. And someone gifted Ryan. Yeah, so if you guys are at any elevation between 500 and like 4,000 feet in California, you want to tell me what kind of snow amounts you have, that would be nice. So I know there's a lot of snowfall out there. It's just, it kind of gives you a better idea exactly what's going on. When I hit 100,000 subscribers, I'll do a weather update in a suit and tie. How about that? It's kind of cold in this basement. I got to set up a heating system down here. I'm down in the basement here, so it's kind of chilly. I got to wear these sweatshirts a lot of times. I wrote over Quinn's name here. I'll put him back in again. In fact, I might just want to pull this entire thing again. I'm just going to pull it again because I can pull it off of the website here and just get the accurate data. So I'm going to do that. Yeah, for 100,000, if I get 100,000 subscribers, I'll do, whatever you guys want. I'll do a vote or something. I'm down in the weather dungeon. My wife gets to be upstairs and she has a view of the Puget Sound, and I'm down here in the dungeon. 3 feet solid snow and ice, 3,500 feet Central Sierra. Yeah, a lot of that's going to go bye-bye. Yeah, that's going to be bad news. And I'm going to show you guys this here really quick. You can see this is National Weather Service Sacramento here. And they're talking about it here. A flood watch remains in effect for elevations below 4,000 feet for Thursday afternoon through Sunday morning. And right now they're talking about the burn scars should remain largely snow covered at least for the next several days, so debris flow danger is minimal. But they talk about that right there too. Accumulated snow on roofs will bring additional weight, bringing potential for overloading. Heavy snow in the higher elevations. Yeah, it's going to be crazy because you're going to start off as some snow for some of that higher terrain too, and then it's going to change over to rain. I mean, 2 to 4 feet additional above 5,000 feet. That is pretty impressive. 3 to 6 feet possible to the south. Heaviest snow above 7. Higher totals above 8. And it's going to be more dense. Like I mentioned, it's going to be more dense. The Sierra cement. We call it the Cascade concrete up here. Yeah, winter storm warning is likely to be in effect for much of this time frame as well. Big winds as well. Did I show you guys that? Let's see if I did not. So yeah, this is the NAMM 3KM. This is actually, let's update this. There's another one that's running as we speak. So let's take a look at that. I'm surprised at some of the strength of these winds coming across some of the Central Valley and the higher terrain are actually pretty wicked stuff there. I mean, there's some gusts up over 60, so there's going to be some power outages and trees damaged here as well. But yeah, for the most part right now, Southern California doesn't look too bad. I mean, you can't rule out things just yet, but it's not as bad as it was back in December, January coming up here. Shoveled our roofs today. That's an impressive feat. Very nice. Yeah, that's what's got to be done though. I mean, it can not only just collapse the roof, but it can damage it. And then you've got rain falling, and then you've got rain working its way into your house and you don't realize it until it's too late, or you can't do anything about it by that point anyway, because you've got snow on your roof. You can't patch or repair it. And yeah, it becomes a giant mess really quick. Roof's not up to code will collapse. Yeah, that's true. All right, so at 7:34, I'm going to do this. I'm going to grab the list and we're going to do the drawing here. So anybody last minute, I'm going to pull it right now and we're going to just go with whatever we have here. So then I'm going to take this and we'll just take off all that and delete it. We've got all the names here. We'll delete row 1. So how many people do we have here? We have 231. Okay, so that's it. We're going to do the drawing now. I can't tell if Colleen got in there, though. All right, you guys ready to go? Here we go. So I think I had it right here. Okay, so I have to change this. We have to do 200 and how many? 32. Okay, so if I didn't tell you guys the rules, you have to get your number called twice. The first person to get the number, your randomly generated number twice wins. So it might take a couple minutes here, but I got the new members in there. Yes, there are 232 now. So here we go. Oh yeah, I got the call. My head is over the column. Here we go. Let's do that. There we go. That's better, right? Shasta Lake City, 500 feet, no snow left to melt. Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to mark whoever gets the... I'm just have to mark this one at a time here. So this might take a little bit, but I'll make it fun. You guys continue to chat, and we'll do this here. All right. So if I hit 82 again here, Manny wins the weather station. You guys understand how that works? There's 57. There's Terry. $127. Who's number 127? This big mouse is kind of driving me nuts, but right now when I do this, but oh well. There's 127. So if I hit any one of those three numbers, they win the weather station. Just confirming the rules, how they work here. There's 180. Matt Winberry. You haven't won yet. If your number gets called, your number has to be called twice. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't take 50 minutes. Troy Van Horn. Jeff Ryan. Ooh, that was close. 58. Elfair Design. 119. Anna Boynton. 178. What happened there? Flush Jackson. $189. Jerry Freelix. $74. Chrissy Sunshine. Florence. So you guys can see that all these numbers are getting called here. If it gets called, any one of these numbers gets called again, you are the winner of this weather station. You guys, anybody got their number called here yet on the screen here? 77. Jack Mercer. That was close. I'm not sure why this is doing that, but it's jumping around a lot here. There we go. Oh, did we get 160? Oh, there, look at that. Okay. James Weinkoff. James Weinkoff is one. But, okay, so now I've got a surprise here for you guys also. We're going to keep going here. I have actually 2 stations we're going to do. So we're doing another one also. So there's going to be 2 weather stations given away here. So I'm going to continue on here. And James cannot win this one also. Frank Tippin. So I'm going to have to get a hold of James here somehow. I don't see him in here right now. But we're going to do... There's another one out here right now. So we're doing another station here, folks. There's 2 weather stations to give away. Yeah, this is like a big bingo game, isn't it? Like a bad bingo game. BF. Quinn Fitzpatrick. And BF again. Wow, look at that. Okay, who's BF? They might not be in here now, but I'll get a hold of him. And one more surprise we've got. It's the weather flow. It's the Tempest weather flow. And we have one more. We have 3 stations to give away. So we're doing a 3rd one here. So we got 3 stations we're giving away here, you guys. Nick Andrew. Okay, we got our 3 winners, you guys. Nick Andrew. So there's 3 stations given away. Hopefully you guys, I don't know if anybody's gotten the stations yet, but hopefully you guys are enjoying it. I'm enjoying mine. It's a pretty nice station for what it is. It's affordable, and it does as well as some of the better weather stations that are much more expensive out there. Not in this, no, I had to do it just members. Otherwise, I don't know how I would do a giveaway if it was subscribers. It's too... I don't know how I would do a random drawing on that. So I've got the names here. It's Nick Andrew, James Weinkauf, and BF. And if nobody claims the prize here in 24 hours, then I'll do another drawing here in the upcoming days, and I'll give it away then. Because there was somebody who did not claim one of the free pictures there for like the number 10,000 subscribers. Yeah, I wish I could give everyone a station. But yeah, here's mine basically live. You can see my wind speed update as we go here. It updates every 3 seconds. And you can see it picked up that lightning strike yesterday. That was a pleasant surprise there. It did really well with that. A little bit of rain today. You can see the temperature outside. The pressure is really accurate. Yeah, the wind speed does well too. I mean, it's a nice system. And then you can click on any individual one of these things and you can actually see the graphing and whatnot. Like the pressure here over the last few days. And the app shows up on the phone very nicely. So yeah, I highly recommend it. Very nice. Do I believe in global warming? I have no beliefs in global warming. I understand the processes that cause global warming, but I do not believe in global warming. It's not something you believe in so much as something you either understand or you don't, really. If you add carbon dioxide to our atmosphere, it warms things up. That's kind of not really up for debate. Okay, so I want to see this here. Let's go to... Yeah, look at some of the snowfall coming in here for Eastern Oregon with this storm. Man alive. And Eastern Washington's going to get a nice shot of snowfall, including places like Yakima, Blue Hills, Spokane, Pullman there. Ritzville might get some snowfall out of this. Highway 2. Man, but we're not getting anything here west of the Cascades too bad. This is not going to be accumulating here at Willamette Valley, Puget Sound. Yeah, I see a lot of comments coming in here now. I don't like to really talk about it too much because it shouldn't be a politicized thing. It doesn't mean we have to go abandon our homes and our cars and go live like hippies in caves or something like that. But we're burning up the earth and pumping it into our atmosphere. It's going to have some kind of effect. We just have to work as a species to help reduce that effect and try to correct it. And that's it. I mean, that's just the only way to go with it. Nobody's to blame for it. We needed oil and gasoline and everything, and we'll continue to need oil and gasoline for a long time to come. And there should be no shame in, coming to rise as a species, but we just have to try to make things renewable so we don't poison the planet or, have some kind of irreversible effects going on eventually at some point in the future. And we just don't have to deal with that stuff. I mean, if nothing else, it's nice backing into my garage with an electric car, because when my wife backs in with the van in our garage, I can smell the fumes down there in my garage for some time after. And just simple things like that. Or if you're out in traffic and you're driving down the road, it's just kind of better not to have to breathe that stuff. And it's going to make sense. Yeah, I shouldn't talk about it too much. It gets too politicized and whatnot. So it's not something I like to talk about just because people really get upset about it. And I'm not really sure why, but it's something I try to avoid generally. I mean, it's not a threat where it's going to destroy humanity or anything like that, but it is going to increase suffering around the world. And, certain people that have more money are going to be affected less. You have the ability to adapt and stuff, but humans will survive. We'll figure it out. So this is the 18Z GFS. Let's see if we're running. The 0Z just started here, it looks like. So it's not going to be up to date for a while. See what the Canadian said this morning here. Precipitation coming in for that atmospheric river. Yeah, it's painting a pretty dire picture there. Hopefully enough of this can fall as snow. And it actually including Southern California a bit more on the Canadian model here as well. And the Canadian just wants to go a little more gung-ho on Southern California versus the GFS here. And look at this. It just pegs the scale here. I mean, what a ridiculous amount. This is only through hour 168 here. This is this morning's Canadian run, by the way. But I think Weather Bell needs to come up with some more colors here, because they could probably go white after the pink there, because that's pretty incredible that they've pegged the scale across basically the entire Sierra Nevada mountain range. See, it's just me talking about it in this little brief period has gotten some people pretty angry. So yeah, that's why I generally try to avoid the topic for the most part. I don't know that you can get Weather Bell at a discount. It's worth having if you do a lot of work with it, and if you really like the graphics and you want to know a lot of what's going on, and they allow you to put the maps. Like you can visualize the California one, for example, you can see out over the ocean better than you can in certain other weather models. And then you can go ahead and go to like oceanic here, and you can go to Northeast Pacific. And you can see the Hawaiian Islands out here. It allows you some really nicely laid out maps. That's why I like Weather Bell. I tend to go with it. Yeah. And I got a lot of people stirred up here. I just meant to talk about it for a couple minutes there, but you know, it's not. I'm just going off what the scientists and the experts say. I'm not a climatologist, but I know a lot about it. I know a lot of climatologists. I know a lot of experts in the field, and I know what they say about the subject. And I'm going to listen to what the experts say on the subject. And I'll just leave it at that, really. There's not any other way to look at it. Yeah, there's going to be some big snowfalls in the higher terrain. If we saw this is the Sierra Nevada here, National Weather Service, Sacramento. And look at this, north of Interstate 80, 3 to 6 feet is possible. South of I-80 there, 2 to 4 feet north of I-80. This is for elevations generally above 5,000 and 6,000 feet, and some even higher totals of 8,000 feet there. Going to be that heavy, wet, dense snow too. So it's really going to increase the load on some of these structures up there. Yeah, the National Weather Service Sacramento is one of my favorite offices too. I mean, they put out good graphics every single day. It's just amazing. They are on top of things. Just bam, bam. Their graphics are exceptional. They communicate well on social media. They're just an exceptional office. I also like Hanford, California, tends to do really well also with their graphics. Los Angeles is very active also. You can see they really break it down for you quite nicely. They go over the impacts, the actions you should take, what kind of weather you're going to get based on if you're on the beach or the mountains, what kind of winds you're going to get. I mean, they're really good. Los Angeles is really good. San Diego's not bad either. And you can see, you can click on these individual, and it gives you this day in history even. It shows you what kind of winds, the rainfall timing, the rain chances. And, I mean, really, California is generally pretty good. San Francisco Bay Area is not bad either. Why did the weather guys miss the Portland snowfall last month? Well, you know, if you go back in the few days before that snow was falling, I kept showing the European, and it was highlighting those big snowfall totals across some of Southwest Washington and Oregon. It was doing pretty well with that system. Keith Evans, thank you for the generosity, sir. For Dan Horea, thank you for the generosity also. I'm driving from the Tri-Cities to Pullman and back over Snoqualmie tomorrow. How is it looking? Should be done by 8 p.m. So by 8 p.m., let's back all the way up here. You're going to start, you might be okay, because it looks like you can see that storm starting to impact Oregon by the time you get towards about 7. I think you'll be okay. I think by the time you get into Friday morning, you got to start watching out for the Cascades really starting to get going here. And Eastern Washington's going to get going during the day Friday also. But you can see pretty big swath of snow incoming for the Pacific Northwest. This is about 10 a.m. Friday here. Atmospheric river would be underway there. You can see another system out here across the Pacific. Continuing to steer moisture at California, troughing still off the coastline there. Another system developing. It's going to keep the precip going for California. But yeah, nice storm for the Pacific Northwest also. I mean, it's really active all the way from British Columbia all the way down through California coming up here. But I think you'd be okay tomorrow if you're done by 8 p.m. for sure. Ben Randall is here. Yeah, the metrograms are nice too. It becomes a problem when you're dealing with marginal situations. Sometimes you're looking at these snow events and it like shows 2 inches for Seattle and you know it's going to be 35 degrees. So you're kind of like, you kind of learn. That's what some of the things you learn with the experience. You're looking at those and you just kind of know it's going to be marginal, and you might see a little bit of a coating, but you know you're not going to get 2 to 3 inches. Yeah, Z is Zulu time, UTC, Universal. Yeah, there's a lot of precipitation coming for Central California there as well. I mean, big amounts. Let's actually do this too. Let's go to the NAMM 3KM. Here we are. Let's do, this is hot off the presses, so I want to see what this is saying here. Precipitation total in inches. Let's look at this. This is a high resolution model, so it shows terrain features better. Yeah, and you can see some of the really big amounts up from Big Sur. You know, the higher terrain just north of the Bay Area there. It's really rolling to the Sierra Nevada. And the foothills, this is going to be a problem because, you know, you're going to get that orographic lift and the rainfall going generally below 5,000 feet. It's going to be melting that snowpack as you go. The higher terrains are going to do much better here because it's not going to turn over to rain as quickly, and that snowpack's going to be able to handle some of that moisture. But yeah, this is on in through Saturday morning shown here. So you can really see some of the orographic effects across the valleys. Not as much rainfall, but once you get up in the higher terrain at all, it really brings out that atmospheric river quite nicely, and some of the higher terrain along the coastal areas also. And this is only at 60 hours, you guys. There's a lot more precip coming behind this also. This is the current GFS running hot off the presses right now as well. And you can kind of see the difference in the resolution. You can't see the finer features here in the terrain. It does try to pick them up, but it's definitely not as high resolution. And if we go on in through Saturday, see that precipitation kind of continuing there. And now we're only out to about 91 hours here on the recent GFS. We'll let that update as we go. Ryan is still in Melbourne, Australia. When are you coming back, Ryan? Yeah, Yosemite. Oh, wait, what is that? Oh, yeah, it's closed. Yeah, I heard they're closing for flooding actually too there. Home on Sunday. So we should start to warm up by then. Michael, you nailed it on the snow last month. Yeah, thanks. I hope that, you know, the European does pretty well on some of the events. I mean, it showed it again with that one. It really was showing some big amounts, and it was hard to believe really. And then it actually happened and it got it. And it was like, wow. Why are the comments on turbo speed? That's just that the rapid amount of comments that are coming in here. Why does Seattle office just give us line drawings? Yeah, there's a little frustration there. Sometimes I'm not sure exactly. I don't want to badmouth them too much. You know, it just, they like to show some raw model data that I think confuses people a little bit. But if you guys are just joining now, so I don't know who BF is. I'll try to get a hold of them. If you don't collect your prize within 24 hours, I'm going back for another drawing. So BF won. James Weinkoff won a weather station. And Nick Andrew won a weather station. So contact me via email or DM me on Twitter or message me on here. And so I can get your address and I can send you Reflect the Sun. My aunt lives in Elk Grove, California. Last month, the nearby town of Wilton got flooded. Any change? What happens again? Even worse. So Elk Grove, California. Where? Okay, I'm drawing a blank here. Elk Grove, California. We'll just do the map and go ahead and look at it here. Okay, I mean, if you're down, yeah, you got to watch out for those rivers coming off the higher terrain there. These foothills are going to be raging torrents here as that snowmelt is occurring. So I would definitely watch out if you're in a low-lying elevation there for sure. BF Goodrich, yeah. Yeah, the atmospheric rivers, yep, they come with a lot of rain. The isobars, yeah, sometimes on some of these maps, it shows them being, like these are 4 millibar increments here. And so it doesn't look like much sometimes, but you got to remember that this is 4 millibars. So that's a pretty tight gradient right there. That's 8 millibars you're looking at right off the coastline there. So it's pretty windy conditions there, for example. And then you can see that's 12 millibars here. It's a pretty tight gradient. And if you put 12 lines in there, it would look much more ominous. Yeah, and the thing about those foothill areas too, if there's some snowmelt going on, something interesting to look up is how snowmelt is actually a really good saturator of the ground because it soaks in slowly. The harder you get rainfall, it'll run off immediately. But if you have snow on the ground, it'll actually saturate the ground better because it slowly seeps into the earth. So it can actually exacerbate flooding if you've got a soaked and saturated ground by previous snowmelt as well, because it really saturates the ground a lot better than rainfall actually. Kind of something interesting that I didn't learn that until probably 2-3 years ago, just how much more effective snow can be in saturating the ground versus rain that will just kind of run off a bit quicker. Let's look at California here since we got a lot of questions coming in on California. We'll zoom in on Central here. And we got the new Canadian model running here. Let's see. But just by Friday morning, you can see the big amounts coming for the coastal areas. So you know there's going to be flooding. You know there's going to be mudslides. We're just hoping it's not too bad. And we're going to be dealing with a lot of snow melt, again, in the foothills, generally below 5,000 feet. The higher elevations are going to handle it better. The snowpack's going to absorb some of that rainfall. It'll actually be snowing at some of the higher elevations as well. So that's going to help. But then the problem is you're really loading up those businesses and homes that are up there already with a lot of snow on them, and you can really get some roof collapses going on up there. Yeah, if you're downstream from in lower elevations off of these foothills coming up here over the next few days and this weekend, you really got to be paying attention. Is Weather Bell a whole lot? I like Weather Bell better just because I can look at the maps and I can look at them differently, much more efficiently than on Weather Bell. Weather Bell's good for some things, but if I go to Weather Bell, here's the issue I have with it. So if I go to National here, I can't see off the Washington coastline that well, unless you go like way out and you zoom out to North America or something, and then you're out too far at this point. So Weather Bell allows you to see just off the coastline more, and it allows you to zoom into certain areas better as well. Yeah, take your before pictures of those creeks. If they're running low right now, then you compare them here in a few days, and they're probably going to be big differences. And not everybody is going to be affected the same. Some people are going to be really hard hit. Some people are going to get off much easier, and that's almost always the case with big weather events. Really, anywhere in the world, it's never a big deal until all of a sudden it's flooding your house, or if it's flooding your neighborhood, or you're caught in a storm, or you're stranded. You know, it's usually not too big of a deal when you're nicely at home and the flood just doesn't happen to hit your area that day. Yeah, the rain timing is a good one too, especially the better you break down those graphics, it make it simple. I don't even like to show raw data because it's just so confusing. Even though it's kind of cool to show what the computer is showing, you need to break it down into digestible forms. Otherwise, you just lose your audience. And that's something the National Weather Service does really well with some offices, and some offices it doesn't do as well. Like Medford's another really good one too. You can see this. They put out this map, snowfall Thursday through Friday afternoon. A nice definitive timeline there. It shows exactly where the snow is going to fall. It talks about an I-5, how much snowfall is going to happen, Siskiyou Summit, you can see right there. And then it gives you a breakdown of the snow levels here, the timing on it, and who's going to get more, what kind of impacts you can expect. And then late week wind. Look at this. Another good graphic here. Medford is really good. Flooding potential here. It talks about it. And we go north to Portland here. And Portland and Seattle seem to do less of the graphics. And I wish they would do more. I know they've got brilliant minds. The people that work there are super smart. But they seem to do less of the graphics versus other areas. Then we go out to Spokane again. And look at this. Thursday morning commute snow. Spells it out nice and simply. Look at this nice timeline there. It talks about the winter driving conditions. It really gives you a good idea of what's coming. Then it's Thursday snow forecast here. It shows, where you can expect the most snow. Thursday night into Friday, another snowstorm coming through there, and they talk about that. So it's really good. Missoula is also not too bad also. You can see, look at elevations below 4,000, elevations above, what you can expect, when to travel, when not to. Winter storm coming on Friday. Boise, a little bit less active from what I've seen. Pendleton is sometimes pretty good as well. Let's go check out Pendleton. Pendleton, nice graphic there. Forecast zone change. But yeah, it's some of the offices are really good, and some of offices seem to be a little bit more held back. Like Great Falls, Montana, sometimes it's really great graphics also, like this one. I mean, they're showing you the cold front and the timing and everything, so really nice stuff. Next round of snow coming in, gusty winds. I don't like this map as much as I like the one that, like, for example, Medford was showing. This is a little bit too pixelated for my taste, but it might just be a preference. Glasgow, Montana actually does pretty well too. They even stress talking about livestock out there, and they kind of gear towards, farmers and whatnot out there. Billings is really good too. Where's Billings? I'm going everywhere, but I'm not able to hit Billings. There we go. Billings is really nice also. They do pretty good graphics. So I don't know why the Seattle and Portland offices don't delve into the graphics as much, but I kind of wish they would. When do you think backpackers will be able to access the high Sierra at 10,000 feet? That's a good question, because this might be one of those years where you have snow well on into the spring coming up here. But as you know, things can warm up quick in California, so it might happen. It's really a coin toss at this point. I couldn't really even give you a guess at this point. Yeah, so we got a storm coming. If you're in the foothills up here in western Washington, the winds are going to get going pretty good tomorrow night. We're going to get some gap winds, and the Cascades are going to get roaring by Friday morning or so. And a nice snowstorm for eastern Washington. Cascades, Oregon are going to get hammered as well. Here's the 5,000 foot. You can kind of see the colder air. It's still hanging around a bit. We do have this colder trough, and it kind of keeps a little bit of colder air around. So this atmospheric river isn't going to be too devastating, but it is going to hit some areas hard. The worry is that we're going to get a warm one as we go through later in March, and we're just going to have so much snow that's going to melt rapidly across some of the higher terrain that it's just going to be a, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video here, this live stream, there's going to be so much potential for flooding with that snowpack up there that we really have to watch each individual event quite carefully here. Yeah, sometimes in the Pacific Northwest, I can remember summers, I forget which one it was, like 2000 or something, we had snow well into June, and some of the higher passes, I think, had some snow like into July even at times. Yeah, you might get a little bit of gorge wind tomorrow night as well. I saw that comment there about wind blowing down the Columbia River. Yeah, if you are below 5,000 feet in California, you need to be concerned with flooding, except in the immediate Southern California area. You got to watch out, especially in the foothills of the Sierras. If you're below 5,000 feet coming up here, it's going to be some significant flooding probably out there. Same with the coastal ranges. It's going to be a good old fashioned, just kind of drenching there for a lot of the areas, especially along the immediate coast and some of the foothills of the Sierra Nevada coming up here. But you're going to get that nice snowfall, some of the higher terrain still here, but it's going to be much more dense and wet variety. So it's going to add to that roof load potential, potential for collapsed roofs. You guys probably saw that grocery store a couple days ago, maybe 2-3 days ago now, that collapsed under all that snow up there. Yeah, and La Nina is out of here. La Nina is on its way out, folks. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, everybody. Yeah, I better get off here too. I got to get upstairs and take care of some things. The kids, they got school tomorrow and whatnot too. So anyway, yeah, so 3 weather stations. If nobody collects them, they're going to go back up for bid here in the next couple of days, and maybe I'll do it differently that time or whatnot. But I will put out a post also for members that tells who won these stations here as well. I'll probably do that tonight. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow morning. I'm going to do the briefings as per normal tomorrow morning, and I guess I'll talk to you guys then. I hope you guys are having a good night, and thanks for stopping by, everybody. Thanks for the generosity. Thanks to all the new members. All right, stay safe out there, everybody. We'll do this briefing again tomorrow. We'll try to make sure what's going on, keep everybody updated here. Nice storm moving in the coastline. So, all right, I'll talk to you guys then.